It is now recording, and I will send this to everybody when Zoom tells me it's good to go. And talk about your timing. We are now at 100 people. So, woohoo. It's the little things in life. You know what I mean? All right. I'm going to share my screen. Find where it is. Perfect. Actually, before I share my screen, I would like to turn it over to Eric, who would like to discuss something we briefly discussed yesterday. I don't know if all of you were on, but Eric, instead of going into it, I'm just going to let you take it away.
Sure. So Scott, first thing, if you could bring up the plan. Do you have it, the most recent
Yeah,
one?
I do.
Okay. While you're bringing that up, I'll give everybody a background. Many of you were probably on our study group yesterday, and Scott and I thought of what we believe is a very, very good concept that makes, let's call it a Roth conversion, even all the more valuable to the client and even all the more valuable to us. And what do I mean by that? Traditionally, we take an annuity, we buy, we convert it, and we put it into an annuity, right? And again, I know that it's about the client and us. So forgive me for focusing a little bit on some of the selfish parts of us making money, but we're there's nothing wrong with us making money and providing value to the client, right? So in a traditional Roth conversion, you do the Roth conversion, you have all that paperwork to do, and I hate to say this, but you would have already made the sale and you're doing extra, that additional work, and you're helping the client because you're doing a Roth conversion. Well, we thought of a concept, and we're very excited about it. We couldn't get the software to do it, but here's what we do: we take an annuity, and in this example, not an annuity, an IRA. In this example, we had a $1 million IRA. Okay, go to the savings. Thank you, Scott. So we had a $1 million IRA. We had and then you can see the other assets: 345 in a 401k, 245, 177. The bottom line, we had some assets. We had $1 million IRA. We took that $1 million IRA, and what we did is we transferred it to one of those annuities that pays 10% of the initial deposit. And a lot of people yesterday were talking about Athene's Performance Elite, which even has a bonus. So you get a bonus, and then it guarantees that in that example I just gave, $100,000 a year would be taken out after taxes. Let's call it 85. We can call it 80, 85. We could figure out what we want. Then we take that money and we put it into an IUL. Instead of a Roth IRA, we're doing an IUL, a minimum non-MEC IUL. But this special product that we came across has an amazing feature. Starting at age 60, you can get out like an annuity, guaranteed lifetime income. So it's the only product that I'm aware of that has this feature. It illustrates beautifully. And what we were able to do is take $85,000 a year for a 60-year-old male, put it into this product. It grew to like 900 and something thousand based on current 5.8% projected return. And then we were able to bleed out $85,000 a year for the rest of their life, guaranteed, no matter what happens. And Scott, show them what happened to the retirement score before and after.
Well,
Oh,
if they just,
before
here's the before.
before you do that, we asked the software to calculate $8,500 a month. So with the assets that you just saw, and go ahead, Scott.
So 8,500 a month. If they did nothing, 62%. Like I say in my training, Eric, let's meet the star of the show.
So the star of the show in this example was the income that we were going to get from the IUL. And here's the beauty: the IUL has a critical illness factor. So there was like in this product, it was a $931,000 critical illness lump sum, an $18,000 a month long-term care benefit if something happens to them, a $979,000 death benefit, and we put that money in that product, and we went from 62% everybody to 100%. How does that look? Pretty sick.
Awesome.
It's really exciting. So
It
now
cut their
there's,
taxes in half too.
well, that's right. Thank you for pointing that out. We cut their taxes in half. So we kicked ass. Jim, did you want to say something?
Was that company National Life?
It sure was.
Okay.
Sure was. Now,
Great,
the
great
one,
concept.
it's an
A
amazing
lot
concept.
simpler, a lot simpler than doing the normal Roth conversion where the internal cash buildup makes it work. I
Yeah.
like this one a lot better.
I like it
Who's
better
the-
too. And yeah.
Who's the annuity? What company are you using for the annuity?
So in this example, I would say it doesn't matter because it doesn't. You need an annuity that has a 10% withdrawal feature
Yeah,
and of the initial premium. So that
Right.
means if you put in $1 million, you can pull out 100,000 a year for 10 years, no matter what happens in the
Mo-
performance of the contract.
most of them don't allow withdrawals until year 2. Is that okay?
I don't know. Anybody know Athene Performance Elite, what that has? I think you
Well,
want to,
It's
A
It
theme,
allows from
you can
day
get it first,
one. Day
and
one.
Athene has an 18% bonus now.
yeah.
Day one was 10% withdrawal.
Well, the Performance Elite, to have liquidity, you have to have a plus version. You pay a fee for the plus version. Without it, the Performance Elite 10 and 15 offer 5% penalty free in year 2 going forward. In year 1, if you pay the 95 basis points for the plus version, you get 10% immediately, 20% cumulative.
Yep.
Right,
Okay, awesome.
there's a
Thank
couple
you.
of
Thank you for that.
questions. And Eric, people are
Uh,
asking, well, did they buy? One thing you can do is you might want to say the genesis of where they all started, of where this started from. How it happened with,
Oh, with
Ready
Dwayne.
for the
Well,
next.
yeah, so I hate to say that this is a sad story, but a good story. We had an agent that sold this concept. This is before we had the roadmap. And he was on his way to New Jersey from Texas, and he was flying his own plane with his wife. And unfortunately, he crashed and died. And I had to take over the case, and we ended up doing it. I think at that time we used an F&G Power 10 to fund the life insurance, and we didn't use National Life. I didn't know about this feature and this benefit. But the bottom line is sad story. But this concept came from, at least I learned it from this gentleman. And then when I learned about this National Life product, I said, this is a home run. And I also went, and for those of you that like this concept, I have another tie-in for you. Some of you on the program are probably with our leads program. We can pay on the National Life, we can pay street comp. We actually have an annualization contract where you can annualize it. We pay street comp, and for every $10,000 of premium that you write, we'll give you 10 free leads. Okay, Scott?
no, 10, I'm
Yeah,
look 10. That's excellent. That's really cool.
Yeah. So in addition to the software just showing this in a beautiful way, 62 to 100. And by the way, the National Life product, it even has a guaranteed cash value. And guess what the score goes from? Even if we use the guarantee, it went from 62 to 82. And that's just using the guaranteed values. Okay. Somebody asked a question, what was the target premium? It was about 38,000. I kept it low. I could have tweaked it and, made it higher, but we want to do the most cash value, but it's a beautiful thing.
So
What's
Eric,
the-
if I may,
What's
Yeah,
the
please.
value of that
So-
contract?
Wait.
So-
One question at a time.
do I have this right? We're taking the million and we're putting it into Athene PE10 that allows you to take 10% first year withdrawals. Is that mandatory first 10% first year to do this properly?
Well, you have to fund the life insurance, so you can, I would suggest doing that. Yeah.
So, okay, so we need to pick an annuity that allows you to take 10% out first year.
Yes. Unless you want to, so thank you. I'm going to get to your question, Diane. So Ideally, you don't have to. You know, there's always different ways to slice it up, but the answer is ideally yes. Okay.
Okay,
Now, yep. Okay.
so we take the first, we do the PE 10, which allows you the first year
Yep.
liquidity.
Yep.
So we take 10% out, 100, which is really 85, to fund this, to fund the National Life IUL. Right?
Yes.
And then we're doing that for 10 years.
Yes.
Okay. And at the end of the 10 years, they have a big pile of tax-free money. Do I have this right?
Yes. And the tax-free money is guaranteed for life.
Okay.
Hey,
What
Eric,
about the older, is this more towards people in their 50s and early 60s?
This example is a 60-year-old. Yesterday we talked about it. One of the keys of this is that you have to just have a 10-year waiting period before you need that
Okay.
IRA money.
So this idea would not be great for like a 75-year-old then?
If they don't need, if they have money to live on from 75 to 85, it'll work.
Okay.
Okay.
By the way,
Go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say, I keep getting this question too, Eric. If you weren't on the call yesterday, we will be sending a recording.
hey,
Yes.
Eric, this is Mark. What could one of the ways be, instead of taking the whole million and putting it into the annuity, only put like 900 and use
Yeah.
that 100 and fund the insurance product?
You could do that too.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen,
Yeah, and they have to qualify for life insurance. So go ahead.
understand that you have, most people are going to have that $1 million or whatever the number you're going to use is already in like a 401k because it's already IRA money. So
That's right.
you don't, if it's in an annuity already, then you may not, I don't know, you may not want to just transfer it to another annuity, but
Yeah.
all we're saying here is just something that if you have a 401k, you're going to transfer it to keep it as an annuity, and by putting it into the annuity. Now, Eric, you can answer this better. Does the NLG, does that have, is that going to automatically do everything, put it on autopilot? Is it automatically going to transfer money from the annuity to the insurance, or does the agent have to get involved in that?
Yeah. So I thank you, Ed. And the answer is there's probably some insurance companies that might consider sending the money to the person's checking account, the checking account being tapped from the insurance company. I only because I want to respect Scott's time. I don't want to get into the weeds on this concept. The point of this was three things. One, because we want to get to the software stuff. One, this concept, this idea. It's a beautiful idea. Using the software, it goes from 62% to 100%. In this example, other examples might be a little different, but it's a beautiful thing. We saved this person $800,000 in taxes, and we are putting together a program with National Life so that if you get appointed through us, we'll even throw in leads and pay street comp for every $10,000 of issued premium. Okay, so and then Diane's question, which is a very important question, is: are we going to show you how to run this in the software? So the software, the answer is to do it the way it works beautifully. We had to rig it a little bit, and I don't mean rig it in a negative way. I mean make some adjustments. So it's basically what you have to do is you have to run two current plans, Diane and everybody else, and then Reese, our guy, he did the current and the future like that. So there's a little bit of graphics that we tweak, but it's at the end of the day, it's running two current plans, and we'll get into the specifics. But let me turn it over to Scott, and let Scott show everybody these amazing new things.
Hey, Eric, just really quick.
Sure.
Someone mentioned about holding back 10% of $1 million and then putting it into an IUL. That's fine. You just have to space out that 10% payment over potentially 8 to 10 years, because you don't want to mech it and have too much life insurance. If you dump in 10% up front, it gives you too much of a life insurance value to try to withdraw from later on. So just something to be aware of.
The illustration that we ran, it wasn't a mech. I ran like a minimum non-mech, but absolutely we want to make sure that it doesn't mech.
Well, and I'm specifically talking about dumping $100,000 in. Your scenario said dumping in 100,000 a year, but if
For 10 years.
if you're putting $1 million in and you're putting it all 10% up front, it might not do the same thing. So
No, we put, just to be clear, we put 85,000 of premium a year for 10 years. It didn't mech. The first $1 million went to the annuity. Then we pulled out of the annuity. We were left with 85,000. And then we
After
funded
taxes.
the insurance after taxes. Okay.
All right.
So,
There'll be more on this.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead,
there'll
Eric,
be
I'm sorry.
more. This isn't the end of it. Believe me, I'm excited about this topic. So you're going to hear from me a lot about this. It's just such a win-win, and it's a concept that, in addition to the volatility buffer, it's just going to help our advisors so much.
Hmm.
Go ahead, Scott.
All right, beautiful. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. And thank you all for being here. We've broken, I don't know what the record was, but we have a new record, Eric, 125 people on at
That's
one point.
incredible.
I think we're at 124. We got another one coming in. So this is great. Well done. These are our peeps. You're our peeps. What can I tell you? All right, so let's get into it. Software update. This is being recorded, so it'll come to you. And of course, if you have any questions, you know, you can text me, email, whatever it might be. Some of you even know that if you need me on a Saturday or Sunday, I'm there for you as well. Diane, can you discuss after the meeting with Eric or myself? Absolutely. Anyway, moving on. Couple things I want to show you. The software has now been updated. When you go into it, there are a couple things that were updated before that I may not have gone into, but here is your page when you first sign on. Hopefully you have more cases than I will. Over here is a trash can. So if you have a case and you don't need it anymore, or you put it in and you're just not going to need it, you can click the trash can, get rid of it, boom, it's gone. So when you're like, I've got 30 cases, I don't need them all, get rid of them. But now there's another column here, last update. So, you know, just so you know, there's first name, last name, status, create, last update. If you click on any one of them, it'll alphabetize it A to Z and then Z to A. Same thing for create date and last update. It'll do the dates via the oldest and then to the newest and newest to the oldest, just so you know that. Also, what was there up here where it'll have your name, not my name, Scott, you click the down arrow, click account, and now you see for your email, you should have this pencil. So if you ever need to change your email in your account, you can now do so. Not to mention change your password. All right, so let's get into some more wonderful things. We have the typical valued client. For savings and contributions, if you click the plus sign over here, remember there was outside source and current income. We've now changed it so outside source is the default. Many of you would do it and see the red X's and go, how do I get rid of them? And that's because you had to put an income in, and if it wasn't enough, you know, could be a little off-putting. So we've changed it to outside source so you won't have that problem anymore. Of course, if you need to, especially on something that's pre-tax, you change it to current income if you're making a contribution. Pardon me. For tax settings, everybody, look what's back. We have decimal points. Who would think something like decimal points would get me so excited? It's amazing what gets you so excited, right? But we have decimal points again. Exciting.
Yeah,
so now yay, right, Diane? For FICA, which is 7.65 and only applies to payroll, instead of having to round it up to 8, we can put 7.65. Great stuff, huh? And of course, for the COLA, cost of living adjustments, you can now, instead of having to put 2 or 3, you can put 2.5 or whatever you wish. And for state taxes, like for instance, Michigan, I believe is 4.25. Now it can be accurate. I'm going to save it because what the heck? I just like saving cases. Still have people joining. Very nice. All right. Future adjustments. I'm going to go over the big deal first. And this is a big deal. Artificial intelligence. Now, you know, it's a good thing when used for our software. You click plan automation, you know, and you say, hey, here's our wizard, our AI. You click next. And now you can put in what is important to you. Is it stability? Is it accumulation? Or is it a balance? I'm going to choose balance. And now with balance, you can say, well, how much of this do you want stability versus accumulation? Well, you know what? I want 50-50. And we can get into the nickel and dimes of this later. And I know we'll get together either individually or classes, and we'll go over this. But then you can also say, well, how much of the allocation can go to annuities? We know with suitability, with some companies, it's 50%. Maybe you can go as high as 60%. Well, I'm going to put 60%. And then I'm nothing more there. I'm going to click run. I'm going to click OK. It's doing the voodoo. It's done. OK. And now under plan future adjustments, look what's there. It's telling me exactly what I have to do to achieve what I just asked it to do. Now, here's the good thing. You can go, hey, I don't want to use this, that, or the other thing. I don't want to use this or 360, take it down. You can make changes and additions. But this is saying, hey, to achieve what you just put in the AI, here's everything you need to do. So AI, plan automation. Now let's go back. You know what? Let's take it out. Let's try it again. But this time, let's look at, I'm big on accumulation. And I want no more than 60% in annuities. I'm going to click run. There we go. Future adjustments. I thought that was fixed. And now it's showing me that I'm going to put 720,000 into a GIA to achieve what I want to achieve. All right. Just see something curious.
Scott, what do you mean GIA? You said
I'm sorry, FIA. Eric, you weren't listening, Eric. I said FIA. You know, he does that sometimes. He confuses the F and G. What can I tell you? Anyway, you now have the ability to hit plan automation. Let's do it again. Oops, I'm going to get out of that because I want to get rid of these. Yeah, I want to exit. I want to show you what the balance looked like. And by the way, you see this down here, a little more room there. I'm going to click it. Now I'm going to do it showing the stability. Again, the max is 60% into annuities. I'm going to click enter, hit OK. Here we go. And, you know, especially for you, Eric, it's FIA, you know, and there it is. It's showing again. It's going to be 720.
How
So
come there's no transfer end here?
because you're doing it all in 1 year.
Okay.
All righty. I don't know. You know, that's why it's all being done in 1 year. You do use end year if you were doing a partial or something along those lines. You're not.
Wait, so Scott, is this meant to be an FIA or for income or for the buffer?
For the volatility buffer.
So it says FIA.
Well, it says guaranteed income. Well, this is stability. In this case, it's guaranteed income. I keep doing that. So let me take it out and show you again. So if we want, you know, we're looking for a volatility buffer and we're looking for accumulation because a volatility buffer needs accumulation. Click run, click OK, OK again, future adjustments, and there it is. We have volatility buffer and what we have to do to achieve what we want to achieve.
Now it does show the
now
transfer
show the
ending.
end. Well, it's showing the same year. Sorry about that. Thanks for that. Thank you, Evan. All right. So I'm going to leave it. Of course, you can still add insurance as a volatility buffer if you want to, and you can still do a Roth conversion, presuming you were not using, there's still other things to convert. But in this case, you can use now AI or plan automation to determine and make the work easy for you. Now, let's go to the next thing. I'm going to use the 401k as a volatility buffer, but I'm going to now do it as a Roth conversion. You know, it's 401k, but over here under tax type, I've got tax-free Roth IRA. That means the software will now convert to do the Roth conversion and apply the applicable taxes. Now, you also now have the ability to say, am I doing all 500,000 or a fixed amount? All right. Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a fixed amount. I'm going to start it in 2020 year in 2024. I'm going to do it over 5 years, and I'm going to do 75,000 a year. All right. And you can do it now as a Roth conversion. So instead of coming down here and just doing a Roth conversion, in which, by the way, will come where you can do a Roth conversion into a volatility buffer or something like that. You now have this ability to do a Roth conversion into a volatility buffer. Right?
What about the extra 125?
What extra 125?
So you said 75 a year times 5 years, that's 375.
Oh, okay. Well, I apologize. And my math is off. I'm going fast and I'm excited. So I could simply, I could simply do it over 7 years.
Okay.
Scott, can I just ask you a question about when on the tax type, is this the account you're pulling from, or this is what you're
funding source is the 401k. Whenever you do a future adjustment, funding source is the account you're pulling from.
And the tax type and account type is where you're going to?
Well,
in the form of a
in this case,
buffer?
yes. In this case, yes.
Okay,
Because
so
we're
you're going
doing
for the
a Roth
401k.
conversion.
Why would you do it here then below under the Roth conversion?
Because in the below, it doesn't directly go into an FIA. It just says Roth conversion.
Oh, okay.
All righty. We're not there on that yet. We're still working on it.
Okay.
All right. Most of the time when you do this, it's going to match. Like for instance, if you're using the joint account and you're doing it all in 1 year because there's no tax company, let's say you're doing 400,000, you're going to match. You're going to, first of all, the owner has to match joint, and then it's non-qualified. Well, funding source is joint account. Funding source, I don't know why it's not there like that. Oh, account type, joint account. It matches, but there's no Roth component here, so it's going to match. But if you're using the 401k and you're going to do it as a Roth conversion, you're going to say, hey, I'm pulling from the 401k, but we're going to turn it into a Roth IRA. Now you simply say, am I doing it all over 7 years, or am I doing a fixed amount over 7 years?
Hey, Scott.
Yes.
Where does it account for taxes paid on that money coming out of the 401k?
The software accounts for it automatically. And when we go to those reports under outflow, remember in outflow, it's only two things: retirement budget, which is how much they're spending, and taxes. So it'll account for it there.
So do you want to put the entire amount going into that Roth annuity, or do you want to account for taxes being, coming out?
I'm saying here, I want to do the entire one, but I'm doing it over 7 years. So I am accounting for the taxes.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is, do we want to take the taxes out? The taxes going to come out of the 401k?
Yes,
and the answer is
they
yes,
are. Right now, the taxes come from the tax deferred account. We are already working on where you can have greater control and determine where any and all tax comes from. So in the future, I don't know when exactly, but in the future, you will be able to have it where you can say, hey, have the tax come from the non-qualified account or whatever.
So for now, for modeling purposes, if our client was going to pay the taxes from their income, could we then also add more contribution from their income into that?
No.
Like to make it up? No.
No, because the software is going to take it from the 401k anyway, no matter what.
So Scott, we're doing 75 a year for 7 years into an FIA, right?
No, this time I chose all of it. It's going to determine how much it takes. The
Okay,
software. But whichever it is,
let's say we
I'm
do
s-
it over, let's say we do it over multiple years, right? To
We
keep
are.
keep the tax liability in check.
we are doing
Um,
it over 7 years, John.
Okay, so we're taking 75 out of the 401k, doing a conversion into an FIA, right?
No, the software will determine. Since I said all of it, the software will determine how much it will need to take to have it taken out over 7 years. And we'll be
Okay.
going to the,
That's not really the amount, the figure is not really my question. My
What's the
question
question?
is, it's the amount, whether it's 75, 80, or 100, is going into an FIA. And we're
Correct.
gonna be doing that every year, right? For
correct?
7 years. So we have to pick an FIA that has flexible premium. A lot of these FIAs you can't add to. Is that correct?
That there are many, but the FIA you have. Go ahead, Derek.
If I could, Scott, jump in. So what you want to do is, first thing is roll it over, all of it, into the traditional IRA first. Then want to find an annuity that allows you to convert partially each year with a piece of paper.
I mean, we're doing.
Many of them.
You meant
We're
move it
putting
over to an FIA first, an FIA, and there's a limited number of FIAs that allow Roth
No, it's many
conversion.
of them. American
No.
Equity, Lincoln Financial, Midland, a lot of companies, North America.
Yeah,
a lot
Midland
of
just
them-
released it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a handful, but you're right. You have to make sure that it works like that. But I agree.
Yeah, so Midland, North American,
Midland,
Allianz, and American Equity.
Okay.
American Equity, and Lincoln
Let-
Financial.
Everybody, if we could, let's keep it to the software. We can have this discussion later about specific product, but I want to respect
Yeah.
everybody's time and I want to take over. So let's just keep it to the software for now. But thank you for the questions. I get it. I really do. If you want, you can put in the chat box where you think it would be. Now I'm going to make a change here. Bear with me. There we go. Perfect. Okay. And I'm just going to do a regular conversion like I've done with so many of you in my training. All right. So now we know we have plan automation. We can, if you want, do in the future adjustments under FIA, you can do a Roth conversion. English is a tough language, everyone. From here. But now I want to show you GIA. And, pardon me. Again, some of this, it looks familiar. But, premium bonus, hypothetical return, years of deferral. I'm going from an actual product that was once used. Guess what's back? I'm fine all day. Now, all of a sudden, with the software, you all have me verklempt. I hope you're happy.
Decimals.
Yes, Eric, he's spot on. We got decimals back. So now, under base bonus or growth or payout factor, instead of rounding off, we can put in what the actual payout factor is again. Yay. But let me go to the fact that in case you may have missed it, we now can show an increasing GIA. How cool is that? And in fact, with an increasing GIA, waiting for my software to catch up, we have, give me a moment. Take it, do it again one more time. Increasing. Why it's not on there, base benefit, it should be there. Premium bonus, hypothetical, used unqualified, joint. Payout factor, let's presume this is correct, was on the one we use. Increasing growth multiplier. Now, this one, you're probably going to need my help. Let's presume this goes up by 3% a year. You have to put in either 103%, because that means it'll go up 3% a year, or if it's going up, if you've run the hypothetical index return at 5, then you would put 40%, because that's 3%. 40% of 5 or 60% of 5 is 3%. Confused? Sorry. You're going to need my help on this. We have a way for you to simply have a COLA on an increasing GIA. We are already working on something really crazy, where instead of increasing growth multiplier, it says COLA, and you just put in 2%. I know, crazy talk. But for now, we can put a COLA on an increasing growth multiplier or increasing a GIA. Just call me. I'll walk you through it. We'll get it done. We're going to simplify it, but at least it's there and you can use it. All right, I'm going to save it. Lots of stuff, lots of good stuff. Not done. I'm going to calculate it. But he's in. 10, 117. All right, I'm going to go to plan results, and I'm going to hit something called roadmap report. You've all seen this. This is where you could download it and save it onto your computer, as well as send it to a client. And look what's here at the bottom, everybody. Prepared by John, well, that's my name, but it'll have your name, you know, John, Paul, Dora, whoever it is, Diane, we've added that. So now you can have your name on there. Oh, let me go back here for a moment. We've ignored them up until this time, but now you can use, for those of you that have the ability, you can now use a RILA as part of your volatility buffer or your strategy in future adjustments. And of course, you match it up. You can take from the joint account, and let's say you're putting in 100,000. We're going to do it over the course of 1 year, match that up. And you have the upside. Is it a par rate? Let's say it's a par rate of, I don't know, I'm just going to put 75. And then you have a floor or a buffer. And let's say that buffer is 10%. We now have buffer logic in there for you. Or you could say a floor, and let's say the floor is a negative. You could have that, and let's say it's a negative 10%.
Oh.
You know, for those of you that are familiar with RILAs, we now have it in there for you. You have the ability to use it, and the buffer, the RILA logic is now sound.
What does RILA stand for?
Eric, what does RILA stand for again? I forget.
Just put it in the chat.
Registered income, registered indexed linked annuity.
You have to have a securities license for that?
Yep, I believe so, right, Eric? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, one other thing. Let's go back up here. Sometimes it's disjointed. You can all remember from the training when I said pre-tax, whatever it is, owner, the account value, and yes, the cost basis is 0, but you have to put in a whole dollar. Guess what you don't have to do anymore? Take a wild guess. Put in a whole dollar. It's 0. Right, Jen? It's 0. Exciting. Like I said, the things that excite me. So now you can have 0. We're not going to get that red X. It's good to go. All righty. Not that it threw it off, but it was kind of like, I got to put in a dollar. Really? But no more. All righty. Let me go to, I'm going to calculate because I want to show you something. I'm not doing this so much for the score on this one. I'm doing it to show you the changes. You're going to see it, but when you have the scores, you now see under taxes, you see how under future, we show age 75, 85, and now to age 100, what the money is. In other words, how much money they'd have in 10, 20 years at age 100 and on future. We are doing the same thing on taxes. Unfortunately, it's showing for age 75 what happens at age 75 only. For age 85 and 100, what happens at those ages only. Of course, here's the total. We are working on that. So now you can get in 10, 20, and age 100 what any savings or changes in taxes will be. But I wanted you to see it. It is coming. We're working on it as we speak, actually. Got that. I want to make sure I've got all the decimals. Something else. Some of you may notice it, but can you tell me up here what is not the same? Retirement budget. It used to say retirement budget and then give you the totals. And retirement budget, unfortunately, if you put anything in goals, and everybody, we all remember what are goals, right? It's total spending. So if you added some things, retirement budget would add it all together and then put it into a monthly amount. So you could have a monthly amount of like $30,000 and it would kind of be a little off-putting. Well, what we did was simply removed it. So you no longer have that problem, right? But again,
Are the training videos on the agent portal going to be updated to reflect the upgrades that you're sharing with us?
yes, I have to re-record them. I will do so within the next week. All right, Matt, I'd like to get it done this week, but I've got some things going on. I'll make you a promise. And if I don't do it, Eric will give you all, I don't know, something. But I promise I will try and truly have it done by next Friday, if not sooner.
Thank
All
you.
right. And when I get it done, I'll try and remember to let y'all know. Something else, when you log on, I believe now it will show you your password. Before it just had those stars, so you didn't see what you were typing. Now you should be able to see your password when you log on. I think everybody, that's it. We still have more stuff coming. Of course, I always welcome, and remember, I'd say at least half of these have come from your input. See my blue book, which whenever anybody tells me something, I immediately write it down. And when we have our next meeting in the next probably week or two to discuss, oh, Jen, you're hitting me where it hurts.
Sorry.
The duplication feature is coming. And what do I mean by that? Let me in fact show you. Wouldn't it be great? I mean, we now have it where if you have a case, you can get rid of it and use the trash can. Wonderful stuff, right? Just say yes. Give me a thumbs up. Help me out.
We love it.
There you go. Dora, I love you. Anyway, wouldn't it be nice for each and every client to go into that client and copy it? So if you want to run a few different things, you can, and even delete them as necessary. That's coming, but Jen and everybody, not here yet. That is a lot more intense than you might, you know, the funniest thing is the things that sound so easy are the things that are the hardest. You know, Eric and I have learned probably more about software development in the last year than most people do all their life. But yes, Diane, yeah, absolutely. I feel you on that. That's already in the works, as is, and I've teased you all on this, taxes. Wouldn't it be nice for taxes? Because right now, oh, I'm sorry. Another update, you don't necessarily see it, is now it is using 2024 tax tables, tax brackets, standard deduction. Those go up 1.6% a year. It's kind of a COLA feature on it. But wouldn't it be cool? I mean, really cool if you could say in taxes, hey, in 2026, revert back 2017, or show your clients taxes actually going up as opposed to telling them we believe it will go up and what it would happen. That's coming. And that is already being worked on. So this software, look, am I close to it and love it? Yeah, what a shock. But it's getting better and better and better. We're listening. And believe me when I tell you, Eric and I push for these things and tell them it's important. But unfortunately, like Jan, you'd be surprised how hard it is from a software perspective. How you get it. I say this to you all. I used to think, Apple does their update once a year. Why does it take so long? How hard can it be? Now I'm like amazed, even with the thousands of engineers, how they get it done in a year. So it's all about perspective. But John, is it ever possible to add IRMA? Oh, John, I get to tell everybody what IRMA is, not the hurricane, income related monthly adjustment amount. If you watch the Monday webinars, you know how much I enjoy that. Yes, but we're not there yet. All righty. do we show the reoccurring from an FI like Allianz? Yes. In fact, when we go, let me go into this, the income plan results. If there was in future destination, if there is a GIA, it creates its own report. In fact, I apologize. You would see it on its own report. So let me, in fact, go into this. Let me change this. Let me get rid of this. And let me add an FIA. Let's do it as a GIA. From this, let's add 100,000. Thank you for bearing with me. Yeah, we don't want that. We want 103%. Payout factor 12.76. Joint. Years of deferral 10. I'm using it because it's a real case. I don't know why I used it like that. All righty, so I'm going to calculate. And point being is that now under future destination, I think this answers your question. You see FIA report in which it shows you the premium, what the death benefit is, and the withdrawal is the amount that's coming out. Pay for it. In this case, I did. It's really a level one. All righty. But I think if your question is the income generated, if it's a GIA, this is where you would see it. If it's an FIA as a volatility buffer, it's not meant as income. It's meant as accumulation and used in the down years. So I just want to make sure, Nicholas. I hope that answers your question. And by the way, Nicholas, you win for having the coolest sidekick watching the video. By the way, that was good. Did I get any other? You're welcome. Oh, he's not there now. Too bad. Didn't know why he's having issues. Thank you, Bill, very, very much. Application. I want to see if there was. Do we put their monthly retirement income goals in input still? Deborah, remember, goals is spending, not income. So what you're going to do is here is any and all income they have now and in the future. So it's not just if they're working still, you got obviously their payroll, but Social Security, pensions, even if it's 5, 10, 15, 20 years in the future, you put any income here. Goals is spending. How much are they spending now? How much do they want to spend in retirement? And maybe you're adding something to show them what they can do, like be philanthropic, go on vacations, buy me my birthday gifts, November 10th, just saying, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I hope that answers that question. That's all I see. I don't see any other questions. It's 8 minutes to 3. A lot of good stuff. A lot of exciting stuff. And more coming. And it's just constantly being updated. We don't take anything for granted. We're not sitting on our laurels going, okay, we got an update. We've already started the process of setting up our next meeting to talk about what's coming next and when. And believe me, Eric and I are like a hammer on this.
Scott, a couple things. One is I'd love feedback on the color change. You didn't mention that? Or maybe you did.
Shoot. Yeah, I don't think I did. My apologies. We have it now. Thanks, Eric. It's amazing there's a color here. You see the colors? It's red. Yeah. Let me show you what the difference is. So let me take this down to say 1500. I know that'll make a change. Thanks, Eric. I mean, there's so much that's easy to forget. And the scary part is, everyone, I've got the list in front of me, and yet I still missed it. All righty. Okay, so there you go, in which another color change, yellow to green. Yeah, huh?
Yeah.
It's funny, Jen. First, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but it's kind of grown on me.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's. I think it's totally grown on me. I love it.
Yeah.
When does the green kick in?
90 plus.
Okay.
Cool. Where does it change again? Can we change the colors?
No, you don't.
The colors changed from I think, what is it, 60?
I think 60 to 90 is yellow. 90 plus is green. And I'm pretty sure below, I think it's 60. I have to check because I'm not sure. I have to ask Brian. But at below 60 or 65, it's red.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah. So there, oh, wow, Eric, look, everyone.
Everybody likes it?
By the way, this was my idea, if you like it.
Yay.
What?
Just joking, it wasn't, but we're glad it's there. And Eric and I first looked at it going, what? But then, like Eric said, it's really grown on us and everybody seems to really like it. So thanks for your input. Anything else I may have missed, Eric? Thank you for catching that.
No, we're good.
One other thing, please remember, very important. Up here, you see the 3 icons. This is your stuff. Now, I know for a fact not everybody goes there. Marketing. If you go into marketing, if my computer were faster, you have templates, messaging, scripts, live seminar, the sales story.
Scott, show the 6-step sales story charts, the 4th one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The
this
4th one down. Yep. And then go to the cumulative FIA versus S&P 500. John Hickman, and I see you, John, so thumbs up. John Hickman gave this to us. I don't think he would mind me telling you that it didn't look as pretty. We prettied it up. But it is a good piece, and it shows actual S&P 500 versus a fixed indexed annuity, and it shows how the fixed indexed annuity would be better. And I think it's a good point. Where did you get that piece, John?
You're muted probably, John.
Yeah, you're muted, John.
Hopefully, there you go.
I built it on Excel. Actually, my daughter helped me build it. I took the actual S&P numbers that are there, and then we used a 60% participation rate. I'd like to be able to adjust it so on my Excel that if I want to show a 50 or a 40, I can just do that rather quickly. But 60, it allows us to have a discussion.
Yeah, and John was kind enough to share this with us. We were kind enough to make it look prettier, and now it's available to everybody. So, that's a good piece if you want something there. So, thank you, John, for that. And the reason I bring it up is if anybody has pieces that they want to make look prettier, IFWize them. We'll happy to help.
Can I ask a question about that chart?
Yes.
Sure.
It's a 60% par, but is there a cap? Because I've not seen an S&P without a cap.
No, it's uncapped.
No,
what product is uncapped with a 60% par?
60% participation rate, right?
Right, but without a cap? Like what product doesn't have an S&P cap?
60%.
It's got to be capped because this. Look at the slope.
Slow down. So
my question is what FIA has a 60% par, even 50 without a cap? Most of them have a cap.
Yeah. Does anybody know of any? And again, this is a conceptual piece, but a fair question.
I'm sorry, Eric. There's all kinds of products that have participation rates without a cap right now, but the volatility of the S&P is very expensive for options for the companies to buy. So typically, you're not going to see a 60% par with no cap. Most of the time right now, even with the high interest rates, they're around 50 to 55 on the max. But that's not uncommon. If you've got a par rate, most of the S&P that are par rates don't have caps. You have caps without pars, but you have
only volatility indexes have no caps. I've never seen just a pure S&P without a cap.
I have.
They're all over the place. There's all kinds of companies that have them.
Yeah, if somebody could let us know, that would be great.
Okay.
Sure.
Good question. Thank you for that. But again, it's, I think, just a piece to show what could potentially be versus the S&P. And it's just, as John said, it's a good discussion to have.
Yep.
I think it's more important to bring it up with a client. We're not trying to beat the S&P. That's not the objective of the tool. Really, the objective of the tool for me is to show that the power of zero, the power of not losing money in down markets. That's the emphasis, because I'm happy to point out with a client, if you want to start this, at a different time period to go 10 years, the S&P is going to beat the fixed index annuity. But it does show the power of zero, not losing money. That's the main emphasis for me in having that tool.
Again, I also want you all to realize there's a lot of tools here and support for you just in the marketing and resources, but also you have the 6-step sales story and a full demonstration by none other than Eric. So if you're like, hey, I have a presentation coming up and I need to remember, how does he do it again? It's right here for you. For that matter, he broke down, wait for it, the 6 steps. So if you're like, I don't need to watch the whole thing, I just need to see how does he do current and future destination, there you go. And then I know you can't get enough of me. If, you know, for anybody that's gone through my training, you probably got a recording of the training, but here you go, another full demonstration. And I've also broken it down into these 5 areas.
Scott, quick question before everybody goes, or at least before I go, because I got a 3 o'clock. But did you do an update with the software, like the training that you do? Did you do an update yet?
You mean on the
software training, the video,
the recording? I did an update about a month ago. But
shit.
now I have
to do another one. Yeah.
I know, I already do. Matt asked me about that. I have to re-record it so I can, because we didn't have the updates yet.
Got it. All right. I've got to run, Scott. If anybody wants to talk to me about that sales concept, any questions, please let me know.
And everyone,
quickly,
go ahead.
The videos that you're going to update with the new software and all that kind of stuff is going to be where you just showed us. Not Eric's stuff, but your stuff. So we just go there.
Correct.
Not this week, but next week.
I will send something out, except to you, Cal. I'm not sending it to you.
Muchas gracias.
Hey, Scott.
But I will send something out letting everybody know it's updated.
Oh. Scott, this is Aaron. Can you hear me?
Hey, Aaron. Yeah, I can. Aaron, how are you?
Hey, good. In line with the concept we discussed earlier today with the life insurance, that one chart, I'm just throwing this out for a thought, maybe having like a red line at $1 million horizontally along that chart showing, hey, if you check out, your family gets this amount, by the way.
That's not a bad idea. It's evolving, Aaron. It's evolving. Do me a favor. Send Eric an email on that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's evolving. Everybody, as usual. Wonderful to see you all. Wonderful to be with you all. I certainly hope you got a lot out of this. Thank you first of all, thank you to everybody for your good thoughts, number one. But most importantly, as you know, I always say right back at all of you, nothing but good things to all of you and your families. Thank you for being here. Text me, call me, email me, or Sam. We're happy to help. All right?
Thank you.
Is there any more classes this week?
I think I'm doing one today. I have one tentatively tomorrow. I'll be up some with you. Tomorrow might have to be rescheduled because we might have a last-minute oncology appointment. We're trying desperately to get in. But tomorrow and I believe Friday, give me a second and I will tell you. One moment. Give me a moment. Tomorrow. No, there is no class tomorrow, but there is one on Friday so far. But I ask everybody, if you want to join one of my classes, you all know by now how welcoming we are to it. But be flexible. If I do cancel it, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. It's because something has occurred that I have to reschedule something. And
what time Friday?
Always at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Just send me a text or an email, and I'll get you. I'll just send you an invite and a link.
You're going to send us a link to a recording of this.
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know if I feel like it, Tony. I'm just not in the mood. What can I tell you? Soon as Zoom tells me it's gone, I'm going to email all of you and tell you it's ready. And then, because what has to happen is I have to share it with you and send it. But I will do that.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're more than welcome, Tony. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Everybody, be well. Thanks for being here.
Thanks,
talk to you later.
Thanks, Scott.
Bye-bye.